Hi, my name is Sarah Grady, and I'm interested in a master's in supply chain because 7 years ago, when I was studying for my MBA, a supply chain concentration was not yet available. Now, having 6 years of supply chain experience, it's very obvious that a supply chain departments are a key to companies' success. I'm also in a unique position to make an impact working at McDonald's, the #2 supply chain globally. The size and scale of this company can make market shifts, but more importantly, it can set precedent and expectations for the rest of the industry. Needless to say, I quickly found a passion for supply chain, and now that there are curriculums dedicated to this field, I think there will be immense value in me going back to school for a program that's dedicated to supply chain. I was also approached by my leadership to apply as McDonald's sees my potential and are supportive of my continuing education. Throughout the past 6 years, I have developed into an analytical and strategic professional. I run a number of network optimizations, and I work diligently to make sure that my food categories are efficient but are positioned to assure supply. I look forward to learning other perspectives outside of McDonald's, as that really is the way that I'm going to be able to challenge how I work today. My ultimate career goal is to be the head at McDonald's Global Supply Chain and Sustainability team, but immediately coming out of this program, the perfect job would be a promotion to either the US or Global Director of Supply Chain. So these roles have several direct reports and responsibility for numerous food categories. There really is an elevation of role because it has different expectations as the focus is really on creating category visions or goals and developing their teams to achieve those goals. It's really less about that day-to-day management, but orchestrating resources and gaining alignment to ensure categories are positioned for the future. And as it pertains to the most interesting supply chain problem, and I really like this question, because early on, after taking responsibility for the produce category, I became very aware of the ever-growing labor crisis this supply chain is experiencing. My first visit to the Salinas growing region to see romaine being harvested, there was this beautiful field of strawberries to the left, and they told me that it was not going to get harvested and it would just be left to rot because they couldn't find enough labor to do so. Understandably, harvesting produce is backbreaking work, but it highlighted an ever-growing constraint in this industry. From my vantage point, overseeing the entire supply chain, this isn't the only point of concern for labor. The trucking industry capacity is tightening due to electronic logs, as well as just an aging workforce. Consistent labor at the produce facilities is a struggle because it's a cold and wet environment. And over the 2 years that I've had produce, I've seen a number of unexpected labor walkouts at my suppliers. And then finally, our restaurants are constantly battling the daily reality that they are running restaurants without enough labor. So every node of our supply chain is affected and it just continues to worsen. So it's easy for me to sit here and list out all the problems, but what am I doing about it today? So for 2 years, I have been a United Fresh board member where I am working with industry leaders to highlight and lobby for better government programs to combat this growing need. Then in my McDonald's role, I make sure I am strategically partnering and growing with produce companies that are looking to automation at the field level and the facility level and just bringing labor innovation throughout their whole business. I'm working to understand if indoor farming is an option, a viable option for our supply chain. And not all companies are willing to invest heavily for the future, but I'm beginning to expect this of my suppliers as it may be the only way to assure supply in the future. So innovation in field level automation and indoor farming will continue to need support from tech companies, startup companies, and AI solutions, which this will challenge those supply chains as automation is just not moving fast enough. And at a certain point, there's going to be significant demand. So this labor crisis has implications outside of just the produce supply chain, and I've yet to see a solution that will work fast enough to really meet the challenges ahead, which is yet another very complex supply chain problem. So thank you very much for your time and consideration today.